Hey guys, how you doing? I'm gonna video my efforts at putting second gen Dodge Ram seats into a first gen Dodge Ram. What I'm gonna use is a junk first gen bench seat base frame, and I'm gonna weld the second gen seats to it. Now, there's other ways to do this. I didn't want to go through the full day effort of making a new frame to mount the second gen seats onto. So what I did is I found a junk Dodge Ram and I went ahead and cut the seat in half, and I took the cover and springs off of it. So I'm going to show you guys that process here now. So here's the first gen frame. I've got a little bit of lube there because the sliders were a little bit stuck. Also had some other minor things like the lever needing to be readjusted and the spring reset. This frame's a little bit rusty, but that's not going to be a problem for what we're using it with. You can see it provides a nice flat base for putting the second gen seats on it. Now, like I said a second ago, you could do this different ways, but you know, this is just kind of a tow rig that I want to be a little bit more comfortable. This isn't a science project, so I'm not going to build a custom seat brace frame. Here's the seats I'm going to put in from first gen or from second gen Ram, and I don't know if you can see it here. The driver's side's got some power adjustment. So what I think I'll end up doing, rather than wire it in full time, is I'll just hook up one of the 12-volt impact tool batteries to it, and I'll just adjust it to the position that I like, since I'll be the only person driving this rig. All right, guys, this is the inside of the first gen Ram. You can see I've got a pretty decent seat, which is why I wanted to start with another junk seat. But for me, not being, you know, above 6 foot tall, it's going to be okay if this is a little bit higher up than it was stock, which I think is what's going to happen by bolting the second gen, or welding the second gen onto the first gen frame. You can see we don't have a lot of room behind the cab, but we do have more than you'd have in a Toyota or something like that. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut off the unnecessary stuff. Those little pins there aren't needed anymore. This little tray for the old springs for the foam beneath the seat, I'm going to take that off as well. I'm also going to clean the top of this up a little bit so that as I'm welding angle iron or square tubing to it, I get a good weld. All right, so I went ahead and removed the attachment point for the springs on the bottom side here. It's a lot more work than I thought, because despite there being a couple of lap welds, there's also 20 or so spot welds, which I had to take off with a cold chisel. It took longer than I wanted. So I'm not going to do the top half. I'm just going to leave it be. I'm showing that to you guys in case you're trying to do this yourself. You'll skip that step. I don't know if this kind of helps you see how I was teaching myself how to get those lap welds, so sorry, those spot welds off. You can see the lap weld right there, but in between there's spot welds all along that, so it's a lot more work to take it off than I thought it was, so I decided to leave it. While I had my mask on, I went ahead and hit it with the wire wheel a little bit, so I'll have some better points for spot welding. And then the way I'm going to set this up, which you guys may or may not agree with, is I'm just going to lay the seats on top of it, try to decide where I like things, and just start dropping in little square tabs. See if I can get a good looking mount, get everything straight, and I'll decide how to reinforce it. All right, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull those bolts off so I can get rid of those rails, and I'll just rely on the rails in this for front and back. I don't have, this isn't connected to a Dodge, but as you can see, or a Dodge wiring harness, but as you can see, there's just a positive and negative. So I'm going to go ahead and run these motors with the power drill battery, which is going to be just fine. And what I'll do is I'll be able to move these forward so that I can get at that bolt, and then I'll move them back so I can get at that bolt and that bolt. It's going to be a little bit easier on the passenger seat, which, as you guys can see, has manual adjustment. I don't know how well you can see it there, but you can see how I can just run it forward and run it back and get to them. All right, this is normally how I provide 12 volts of power to myself. Just got that little 12 volt battery there off a Craftsman tool set. As you can see, those spade connectors fit in there just fine. You could use 18 volts too, as long as you're not powering this for a long period. It's going to work out just fine. And if you guys give me a second, I'll set this up so we can run it with one hand. All right, so you can see I've just kind of jammed those wires in there. They're not touching, that's the important part. And I got the controls over here. You can see up and down works. and then this is forward and back. I think I'll be able to sort it out now. Just thought I'd show you guys how I power up stuff when I don't have a car battery available. Like I said, it's just a couple of spade connectors and some loose wire. Alright, so in looking at this and mocking up the other, the new seats, I do want to remove this little spring mount up here. So what I've done to help myself is I've just used a paint pen and I've marked where all the spot welds are and where all the lap welds are. I'm just showing you guys because it's quite a few. It'd take about 10 minutes to knock that off. But after that's off, what I'll have is a good spot to mount some angle iron. I've got 2 6-foot sticks here. What I'm going to do is cut 6 of those. And I'm going to use this chop saw here, which a friend recommended to me. It's a non-carbide bit. As you guys can see, it has teeth like what a regular wood saw. I'll try to show that better to you as I'm using it. And it makes the cuts a lot nicer. And what I'll do is I'll just run, the angle iron here, 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 and here, so that I've got somewhere to mount those seats. I'm going to try to bolt those seats on using the Welding nuts that are already there, because that'll make taking them off to, maybe put a vinyl cover on them a little bit easier in the future. All right, this is what I ended up with. The way I came up with this is I noticed that the driver and passenger seat, the bolting was not straight, so I cut a piece of angle here and a piece of angle here rather than having a bar straight across like that. This lined up a little bit better, but they weren't straight on the seats. And the one piece going left to right, that's for the center console or middle cushion. I got these here. And like I talked about, I went ahead and drilled those out. I'm going to reuse the Welding nuts on the bottom of the seats where they were at. And what I did to come up with this without having to do a whole lot of measuring is I cut this member, and of course all of the little angle tabs. And I just set everything up here on the seat, and I just lined it up by eye. And then I tacked a few things in, I drilled a few things, and then I mounted the seats. So in the next video here, I'm going to bolt everything up and we'll take a look at it. Now the way I put this together is I started with this tab and I bolted it to the seat, top and bottom. I went ahead and did the same thing over here. I left the bolts a little bit loose, and then I eyeballed the seat in, got them square, of course in an upright position. I just have this on its back to show you what's going on. After I got them where I liked them, I went ahead and built this cross piece there. I hadn't drilled it yet. Just cut it and fit it in, and I eyeballed everything up square. When I got it where I liked it, I went ahead and put a couple of tacks on each piece in case it wasn't square when it was done. Then I went ahead and drilled these 2 crossbars and I bolted everything in. When I liked how straight it was, I took it all off and I went ahead and put the finish welds on the tabs and on the cross pieces. Now you guys may be saying, oh, okay, these welds aren't the best quality. Yeah, I agree with you, but the thing is, this isn't the NASA spaceship, space shuttle, however you call it here in the States. So it's good enough for what I'm doing. You can see I got to oblong that hole out there, and you can see I still haven't built that cross piece, but I'll take the same approach. I'll cut the width, I'll set it in there, I'll tack it in, I'll drill it out, I'll pull the seats off one more time, and then I'll finish weld it. I just wanted to show you guys, the state of things. And as you can see, they're pretty square. For whatever reason, the driver's seat, probably because of that base I took off, the driver's seat's a little bit higher than the passenger, but I don't mind that. I'm not the tallest guy. So anyhow, just want to show you guys where I got. And my favorite reason for reusing an old bench seat frame was because of these welded studs and how easy it was to pull that bench seat out. Now when I got this, one of the studs had broken, so I just welded a nut on there, but that's the way it normally looks. I don't know how well you can see that. That one's probably okay. Well, anyhow, this is gonna look good. Now you can see there, that doesn't look too bad. And then as a final way to make sure I got this square enough, because looking there, it kind of looks like maybe they lean in a little bit, I bought 25 or so washers, fender washers, that I can shove in between that piece and that piece and get that to square up a little bit more. Because, you know, you really got to cater to your OCD when you're doing these little projects. All right, this is just to try to get you guys an idea of what I mean by kind of putting it in. So there's the 220 welder, which I'd recommend even for this work. The welds go in much nicer. You see, I just kind of hack jobbed this bar in there. I went ahead and did a little bit more than a tack weld, but I'm not going to finish welding because I'm going to take those seats off again. And then what I'll do is, you know, with everything set the way it is right now, before I take it off, I'll go ahead and drill. I'll make sure I like where those holes are at. And that avoids some of the mismeasuring I tend to find myself doing with this stuff. And this will be the last time I take this seat off. And so after I put the welds on, you know, finish welding that cross piece, I'll go ahead and paint it. All right, this is after a couple of coats of flat black, and I realize it's still drying. Some of you guys may not think this is worth your time and effort, but I always figure, you know, if you've spent the time to get everything working again, you might as well spend another $3 and 10 minutes putting down some paint. Went ahead and hit the sides too. I'll show you what I mean when I say I'm not the best at doing this with measurements. So you can see I had to enlarge that hole, and I had to enlarge that hole, and I had to enlarge that hole. So even with my method of squaring things up and then drilling holes, you can see I still have quite a few problems. I also had a little bit of a miscut here. I went ahead and just made it up with a piece of scrap that I had lying around, just to put a little bit of the weight, in case someone's ever on that center piece, onto the, I don't know if you guys can see that there, onto that center bar. All right. Well, didn't turn out too bad. All right, I just wanted to show you guys how these second-gen Ram seats came out. This is from the passenger side. And what you'll notice is that this is about 3 inches higher than the stock seating position, which for us Hobbit folk, I highly recommend. Walking around here to the driver's side. And again, sorry the camera's a little blown out, but you know, a good deal higher than the stock position. You can see I had to move the steering column up a little bit. But for me, I actually liked the result because it gave me a little bit higher seating position, allows me to see over the hood better, see these additional gauges a little bit better, and see out of the rear view mirrors. You can see I've got a couple of cigarette holes on there. These being used seats, that's going to make it just right for me. Also had the addition of you know, center console storage. You can see some space there for some cassette tapes, which you know, we'll have to go out and find. That looks big enough for a clipboard right there. And well, we'll have to get that goop out of there too. But as you can see, no real interference with the shifter column. I do like the resultant position of the pedals better. But anyhow, just like I said, I wanted to share this with you guys so you can kind of get an idea of what you can do. You still have storage space back there. Anyhow, thanks for watching.